Okay, Steelers fans, pump the brakes just a second.
Yeah.
6-2.
Hmm.
Looking good,
Not good.
right? Everyone's getting excited about the playoffs.
I know.
But today, we're going to do a deep dive into these Steelers and their playoff picture.
Right.
And you know what? You might be a little surprised by what we find.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that jumps out to me is they've got this really shiny record, right? 6-2.
Yeah.
But we got to look at who they played.
Hmm.
Their opponents so far have a combined record of 27 wins and 35 losses.
So you're saying they haven't really been tested?
Yeah. Are they really that good, or have they just had a cakewalk of a schedule?
Right, like that old saying, you're only as good as your competition.
Exactly.
So how do we figure this out? How do we know if they're the real deal?
Well, that's why these next 2 weeks are absolutely crucial.
Yeah.
They're going up against the Commanders,
Right.
and then the Ravens.
Back to back.
Back to back, and both of those teams, they've got winning records.
Yeah.
And they got some serious defenses.
These games are going to be a real litmus test.
Okay, so week 10, Commanders, and then week 11, Ravens.
Yep.
This is where we see if the Steelers can hang with the big boys.
He is.
It's like moving up in weight class.
Yeah.
In boxing.
Exactly. And if you dig even deeper
Yeah.
into the numbers, the teams that the Steelers have beat, they've had some real problems protecting their quarterbacks.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They're giving up on average over 3 sacks a game.
Wow.
And the Commanders and the Ravens,
Yeah.
they both have these ferocious defensive lines. So that could be a real problem for Pittsburgh.
All right, so we're talking tougher competition.
Right.
And some potential weaknesses exposed.
Yeah.
But what about the big picture?
Mm-hmm.
What about that playoff race? Where do things stand?
Right now, the Chiefs are sitting pretty at the top.
Okay.
The Bills, they're holding on to that second seed.
Mm-hmm.
And the Steelers, they're in the mix, but it's tight.
Yeah.
And speaking of tight races, you remember Matthew Wright.
Oh, yeah. The Steelers' old kicker?
Yeah.
Well, he just kicked the game-winning field goal
No way.
for the Chiefs against the Chargers.
Oh, man.
So that win keeps the Chiefs ahead of the Steelers.
Oh, you're kidding me.
And guess who Pittsburgh plays on Christmas Day?
Matthew Wright?
Yeah.
Oh, man. He was so clutch for us back in the day.
Right.
Hit those big kicks. And now
he's coming back to haunt us.
I know, talk about adding fuel to the fire.
It's going to be an interesting game, that's for sure.
It really is. And this all just goes to show how close this AFC race really is.
And every game matters. Every point matters.
Absolutely. And then there's this whole trade deadline thing.
Oh, yeah.
This article we've got here,
Mm-hmm.
it's saying the Steelers, they really need a top-tier wide receiver if they want to make a real run in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Kind of like what the Ravens did, you know? What do you think about that?
Well, it's tough to say for sure.
Right.
I mean, having a strong receiving core, it's absolutely essential in today's NFL. And the Steelers, they got some talent there,
Uh-huh.
but adding a true number one receiver, that could really take their offense to a whole new level.
Right.
But it's a gamble.
Yeah.
You're giving up assets,
Yeah.
You could be messing with the team chemistry midseason.
So it's like a high-risk, high-reward kind of thing.
Exactly.
So do you stick with what you got and hope for the best, or do you go all in and make that big splash?
That's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
That's what the front office has to figure out.
And their decision.
Right.
It could make or break their playoff hopes.
Absolutely.
All right, so we've got tough opponents coming up.
Yep.
Tight playoff race.
Uh-huh.
And this potential trade deadline shakeup.
It's heating up.
A lot to consider. So for all you Steelers fans out there,
Yeah.
what should you be watching for these next couple weeks?
These next 2 weeks are going to tell us a lot.
Right.
We're going to see how this team responds to adversity,
Uh-huh.
how they measure up against the best of the best.
Right.
We're going to get a much clearer picture of what they're truly capable of.
So much riding on these next 2 games. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
So let's say they pull it off.
Okay.
They go 2-0 against the Commanders and the Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
Are we talking Super Bowl contenders then? What do you think?
Well, that's a question for another day.
All right, so there you have it. Steelers fans.
Yeah,
A lot to chew on, a lot to look forward to.
absolutely.
We'll be back next week to break it all down again.
See you then.
Until then, keep that black and gold flying high.
Go Steelers.
Go Steelers.
All right.
All right, we're out.
Have a good one.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.